Hello, friends, and welcome back to the SOT Truth podcast, the alcohol-fueled chapter-by-chapter reread of the SOT Truth series with a gargoyle pouring out craft brew on the side.
I like that.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Nate, and on this episode we are coming back to chapter 71 of Stone of Tears, a.k.a. the last chapter, y'all.
It's the last chapter!
It's the last one!
Well, except the epilogue.
Well, that's not a chapter. It's an epilogue.
It's an epilogue, so it doesn't count. This is the last chapter. We have made it.
I mean, you know, it's never a bad thing to just find any little reason you can to celebrate. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take it as a win. We're about to complete the second book, which, I don't know. I have a sense of pride about it. I feel good about it. We started to do a thing, and we are doing a thing. We've done a thing.
Well, and we have a lot of people coming along with us and more every day. And I'm constantly amazed by the response we get from people and all the super clever theories and thoughts that we get. And just y'all are everywhere. And it's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We got an email from a woman in Germany today who said that the beer we're drinking is not technically considered beer in Germany. And I'll be honest, I haven't read the whole thing yet. I just kind of skimmed it, and that part stuck out to me. But I was just like, damn, Germany.
Yeah, I can't believe that. It's really crazy to me to think that we're in our Michigan basement and people are listening to us all over the world. So once again, thank you guys. We really appreciate you being here with us.
We really, really do.
And we're happy that we're all finishing together.
Well, typically it's a good thing when you finish together, but, you know, it's a podcast. It's evergreen. I'm sure that's what you were talking about. Everybody can finish in their own time.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I know for a fact that's not what you meant. It's fine.
One more time before we get into this chapter, I want to mention that the Children of Dahara novel is going to be out on February 4th. That's going to be available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your favorite indie local bookstores. You got to get one. I just want to remind you all that if you haven't planned on getting one yet, you need to put it in your plans.
That's right.
But with that, we can get into it.
All right. So, always start with a so. It feels proper for some reason. I don't know why. Kahlan returns to the inn, still floating on her post-coital bliss, when Zed sees her and he's like, where the fuck have you been? Because we've been looking for you. We've been looking over the whole city, and we haven't been able to find you. And that's a problem because, you know, we're literally trying to protect your ass right now.
I feel like I would have loved to see their, search party where they were probably frustrated at first at her and were like, where the fuck did she wander off to? And then at some point, it was probably, edged over into fear. Did somebody take her?
Yeah, she's gone. She's very clearly gone. This is a problem, guys. And she comes up with the reason, well, I was in the garden, and Zed's like, no you weren't, because like I said, we were combing the city for you.
He's like, the fuck you were. I was out there.
The garden. Who's in the shitter? Check there too. Don't fucking lie to me.
And that's when she admits that she actually did leave the garden. Yeah, we know. And the good spirits took her to be with Richard. And not surprisingly, Zed thinks she's gone a bit crazy here. And he's like, you're just seeing visions. I understand why. You're under a lot of stress. You're very upset. But, there's no fucking way. So.
Right.
But then he sees her hair and the aegil around her neck. And he's like, what?
Yeah, well, it's obvious proof of her story, right? She was away with Richard. But, he still has his doubts. Now, she didn't have an aegil.
No.
And her hair was short.
Yes.
So just that alone is proof to me. And later in the book, when Richard explains his side to Mistress Sanderholt, there's a different situation that happens. Much less proof, and she's like, right away.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting that Zed, a wizard, needs more convincing after this obvious proof of magic that's been done to Kahlan and an object she has from the guy that had that. And he's still like, but there are ways that this could be happening with you lying.
Yeah, she's like, I wasn't just hiding in a bush. Like, I didn't just, like, magically make this shit appear on myself, so... But Kahlan gives him a message from Richard, and this is what makes him actually finally believe her. Richard wanted to thank him for not closing the boxes and violating the second rule. That, along with Richard calling him Grandpa, convinces him.
Yeah. You call me Grandpa.
Aww.
He's my boy. He's like, all right, yeah, you're good. That's fine.
Now, I don't know, was it just maybe shock at hearing Richard, like, claim him like that made him react to that? Because Kahlan knew that Zed was his grandpa because Shota told them before, right?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Kahlan is aware of that, but I think what it is like, I don't know, maybe this is how do I say this? I think Zed, just having gone through an emotional ordeal to get his magic back, right? If it were me, I would have been reminded of all the shit that I could have lost had I just forgotten. So Richard saying, hey, Grandpa, remember? Like, we're not just a party on this adventure, like... Family, yeah, and I think so
you
to
just
Zed.
made it more mushy.
Yeah, I think to Zed that's fucking meaningful, and on top of that, if it's a message from Richard, he'd be like, "Hey, Gramps, I love you, dude. You're my grandpa,"
and he hasn't been able to say that yet.
Right, and coming from Kahlan, the grandpa situation would not have even come up. So Kahlan is in a state of mind like, that's Richard's grandpa. He had a message for his grandpa. Thus I say grandpa. And that kind of verifies to him that she did have a conversation with somebody who, at the very least, now this is why Zed might be suspicious, claimed to be Richard.
Yeah.
But again, like, who else but Richard would know their grandpa? So it does have to be him.
Richard. Well, Kahlan did, but Shota told them both before Richard left.
Yes,
so she did know.
They were both aware.
But Kahlan goes on to tell him that Richard has set everything right. He could only do it because he had both sides of the gift. And she also tells him about the beard thing and reminds him of the lesson that he gave Richard about subtractive magic, which proves that side of it.
Now, Zed can't see the beard disappear.
No.
But Kahlan has recounted that story to him. So he's like, oh, okay, he made it disappear. What I thought was great is, Zed is looking at her as like, okay, first off, he's like, why are you sweaty? Because that's weird. He actually, you know what he says? He says, you're all in a lather, which we just talked about. And I was like, oh, I know what that means.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I was like, she's in a lather like the horses were.
Kahlan got it so good, she is foaming at the mouth. Just, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard is a hero.
Yeah, he is. He's got that big sword of his.
She's like, oh, it was hot in the other world, which... Okay, I've never been to the other world, so I'll believe you. But then he's like, why is your hair all fucked up? If Richard grew it back, he didn't do it right. No proper wizard would do it like that. And, like, he gives her so much shit about it.
I loved Kahlan's response, though, because she gets all, like, out of focus with her eyes, and she's like, oh, Richard did it right, all right. Don't you worry about that.
Out of focus eyes would go great with the foaming at the mouth.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, wow. Wow.
Yeah, she had an experience. Zed is still being thick at this point, and he won't let this die. And he's like, what did you do all night? You were gone all night. And she's like, well, what do you and Addie do when you're there all night? And he's like, we talk.
This reminded me so much of Red Foreman from that 70s show where he's like, we hug. We hug. It's like, dude, you're so full of shit. I love that Kahlan's like, yeah, so that's what we did. We talked. We talked all night long.
To be fair, though, if I was without you for that long, I probably could sit up and talk all night. And, like, not that fucking would not be my top priority, because it would be, but it's not weird that they hung out all night chit-chatting.
No, I mean, well, you got to get the fucking out of the way. That's what it is. Let's just take care of that first, and then talk.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot to say, so I just feel like he should just let it go. Well, even if he didn't need to drive it to this point where she's like, dude, we were fucking.
I feel like Kahlan could have said all of this with a look. Honestly, not that I didn't love her saying it,
you're right.
because it's hilarious, but she could have just lowered her brow and stared at him like, dude,
Raised one eyebrow.
you've been alive your whole life.
Yeah.
You have all of the knowledge of the world that you do and of the relationships you've had. What do you think we've done?
Also, I told you we were in a weird third world where nothing bad can happen. So, yeah, we fucking did it.
Yeah, we did it a lot, Zed. A lot.
Zed grabs her hands. They all start celebrating that Richard is okay and he's a wizard. The only person that's not joining in is Addie.
Super sad.
When Kahlan goes over to her, Addie tells her she's happy for her. She's still blind and believes she's Elda. So that's why she can't really be a part of anything right now.
Yeah, well, she's got no reason to celebrate herself. And I think that, she's saying all the right things because she's like, yeah, I'm happy for you guys. It's good that you're good.
Yeah.
Sure would be
Super
Yeah. But then, Kahlan tells her that the spirits actually sent a message for her. Addie's like, look, it doesn't really matter. It's fine. You guys have your moment in the sun, and I'll just be here in my shadow, blind, all alone. Don't feel bad for me.
Yeah, because she doesn't think that it's going to matter to her because she doesn't remember this shit anyways. So
Right,
she's like,
exactly.
There's no point. I don't care.
She's being polite at best right now, but that's all she's got.
Yeah. And this part made me ugly cry. To, nobody's surprise.
Nope.
As soon as they started this conversation, I was like, shit, here it comes.
Are you going to cry right now?
Not
that I would ever find joy in you crying, but, I don't know.
I don't know.
I get the
I'm
feeling
gonna
we're
try.
probably going to get a live Jade cry before the finishing of this podcast someday.
Probably.
Once.
Yeah, I questioned if I could get through this part of the notes without crying, but I think maybe I'm in an okay mood and the beer is helping.
That's
so
fair.
I think maybe I can do it.
Hey, you know what? To preface it, I'll just say, or to not preface it, but I cried on a Harry Potter podcast, so that's the thing that happened.
That's true.
Just saying. I'll put that out there. I don't care.
So, Kahlan tells Addie that the message is from Pell, who Addie immediately knows. Right away, she's like, my pal? You're talking about my...
That was enough of a jolt to her to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, my person.
Ugh.
He wants her to know that he loves her. He knows that she loved him and that she never betrayed him. He's sorry that she's had to suffer this whole time, but now they can both be at peace because all is well between them. Well, okay, I made it through because I am not as good a writer as Terry Goodkind, and so I shortened it all up, and yes, just get right through it.
Well, they go back and forth, and it's like, I still love you, I never betrayed you, and he's like, I know, I get it, and it's just, both of them realizing that it's all okay, and look, he's still dead.
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from that, but how many times have you spoken to a deceased loved one? Never. So this is a really big deal.
Well, and I think a lot of times when people pass, there are things that you want to make sure that they knew, and just not a lot of people get to have that closure of being like, no, they do know, and I don't have to feel bad. I can go on living my life now knowing that, we're good. That's very powerful.
Closure.
Yeah.
In any amount can be life-changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that got real deep. Sorry. So, Addie, of course, she starts to cry. She's relieved that Pell knows that she didn't betray him. She hugs Kahlan because she has just given her the best gift anybody could receive ever, thanking her for literally giving back her meaning of life.
Yeah, because she's been going on this whole time just trying to get him this message, and that was her whole goal in life, and if she couldn't do that, she had no reason to keep going, and now he's been given that message and given her one back.
Yeah, and look, on top of that, I thought this was really cool about Addie. For the last little while, she has no idea who she is. With people who suddenly figured out who they are, and she had to sit there and witness that and then be like, oh, but it didn't work for me. Yeah. And just but she's still there. She's still part of the team. She's like, yeah, I mean, you guys are my best shot, but I'm here.
I'm sitting in the corner, guys.
Yeah, so she had to do all of this without any sort of